welcome to EC Electronics. So in this video, we are going to actually start the subject of analog communication. We'll be discussing about the basics of the communication system block diagram. And also we'll be discussing what is modulation and the need for modulation. So we are going to cover three major topics in this video: the block diagram of communication system, the modulation topic, its introduction, and also we'll be seeing the needs for modulation. Okay, so from today onwards, we'll be covering various important topics from the analog communication subject. I've created a separate playlist for it. Okay, so if you're interested in studying the subject of analog communication, please do watch the videos added to the respective playlist. Okay, so let's discuss about the block diagram of communication system and the need for modulation. So this is an introduction video to analog communication subject. So in this video, we will be covering the topic called communication system block diagram. That is the basic block diagram we'll be explaining. And also we'll be studying the concepts of modulation, what is actually modulation, its definition, and also what is the need for modulations. Okay, so these three topics we'll be covering in this video. That is the block diagram of communication system, modulation introduction, and the need for modulation. Okay, so let us start with the communication system block diagram. So it is a very basic diagram. There is an information source out here. There is a transmitter, then there is a channel, then there is a receiver and a destination. So the aim of forming or creating such a communication system is to send information that can be either voice or text or image or any source of information from the information source to the destination. That is, we are going to pass an information from a source, that is an information source, to a destination. Okay, and for that purpose, we use a transmitter, we do some modulation, we make a wave which is of higher frequency, that will be an EM wave, and then the receiver and the wave will pass through the channel, and then the receiver will receive it. Okay, and then the receiver will pass the signal received to the corresponding destination. Okay, but in between these source and destination, there's a lot of other things happening. So let us see about the other things or these various elements or various things happening during the in between the source and the destination. Okay, so as I said, the information source will be some either some image or text or some other format. Most commonly it will be a non-electrical quantity. So what we need to actually do first is, we can only send electrical signals, right? So we need to convert the non-electrical format. Consider that it's an image or it is some other form. We need to convert that to an electrical format. So we'll use a transducer that will be converting a non-electrical quantity to an electrical quantity and give it to the transmitter. Okay, so in between the source and the transmitter, there is a transducer. That is the input transducer. Okay. Then the input transducer will be producing a signal. The signal will be of lower energy. When we are actually converting a non-electrical quantity to an electrical quantity, the signal that is produced, there is an electrical signal that is produced, will be very feasible or very low energy. But we need to energize the signal so that it has to pass through the channel and reach the receiver. So the energy has to be boosted, right? So the transmitter session mainly consists of two components. One is an amplifier, then there is a modulator. So the purpose of the amplifier is to amplify the signal. That is, the energy of the signal is to be boosted so that it could be able to travel through this entire path. Okay, so there is an amplifier kept, and also then there is a modulation unit or a modulator. Now we'll be studying what is modulation later on, but just know that modulation is a basic principle in which we are going to use a high frequency waveform which is called the carrier waveform, and we are going to modify some properties of the carrier waveform in accordance with our input signal coming from the transducer. Okay, so in short we can say the output of the modulator will be a high frequency waveform. Okay, so here the signal energy is boosted, here the frequency is modulated, or the frequency high frequency signal is used. Okay. Anyway, these two units are present inside the transmitter, that is amplifier and the modulation unit or the modulator. So after undergoing amplification and modulation, there are other units also, but mainly these are the two units. Okay, amplifier and the modulator. So after the signal is getting modulated and the signal is energy boosted, it will go to the channel. The channel can be either wired or wireless medium. There are various, can be either wired medium or wireless medium. There are various source of channels, right? So the channel will allow a path for the signal to travel through it. Okay. Generally, the signals that are being traveled is a EM waves or electromagnetic waves. Okay. And they are of higher frequency. Then the channel is also prone to some noises, whether it is wired channel or wireless channel. Some noises will get added to our original waveform or original signal, which is given from the transmitter in the path of traveling through the channel. Okay, so whether it is a wired channel or a wireless channel, some noises will get added. Okay, so when the signal is traveling through the channel, two things is happening actually. One, the signal energy will get lost. See, this signal is traveling through a channel or a medium. So when the signal is traveling through some path or some medium or a channel, its energy will get actually lost in that path, and also it will be get added with some noises in addition. Okay, so these two things will happen. Okay, so the signal that is coming at the receiver side will be having noises, and also the energy will be lower. Okay, now in the receiver side, again there are two things happening. The signal is again amplified. Why? Because the signal has lost its energy in the path or in the channel session. So it need to be boosted again. So there is an amplifier, and also there is a demodulation unit. So we have modulated the signal, or we are sending a higher frequency waveform, but we need our original message or original information. So what will we do? We will perform a demodulation. So here there is an amplification and modulation happening. Here there is again amplification and demodulation happening. Okay, so that is the two basic operations happening in the receiver. And also there will be some filtering units also. Why? Because we need to remove this noise. Okay, so to remove the noise, we will be using some filters also, but the main two elements are amplification and demodulation unit. And then there is an output transducer. Why? In the input side, we have converted the non-electrical quantity to electrical quantity, so that it is easy for us to transmit or to make it travel. Okay, so before giving to the destination, we need to recover our original information. So we use a output transducer. Okay, so the output transducer will produce our original information, whether it is text or audio or image or anything. Whatever information was sent by the information source, it will try to transduce back. Okay, it will produce an output, and the output of the output transducer or this transducer is given to the destination. Okay, so this is the various things which is happening in a communication system block diagram. And the basic elements present are information source, transmitter, receiver, channel, and destination. Okay, so this completes the block diagram of a communication system. And in the upcoming days, we'll be studying about various types of modulations. There is amplitude modulation, there is frequency modulation, there is phase modulation, and various type of modulations. And also there is some divisions of these main categories of modulations. We'll be covering all those topics. But basically, we are going to study about modulations in general. Okay. So before studying the various types of modulation, we need to know what is actually modulation. So let us have a closer look on its definition first. Okay. So modulation is the process of changing some characteristics like amplitude, frequency, or phase of a carrier wave in accordance with the amplitude of the modulating signal. Okay. So the process of changing some characteristics that can be amplitude or frequency or phase. And whose characteristics we are changing is the characteristics of the carrier wave. Now this carrier wave is actually a high frequency wave. Okay. So the characteristics of a high frequency wave we are going to change, and we are making this change in accordance with the amplitude of the modulating signal. Now what is modulating signal? It is actually our original information signal. Okay. So in accordance with the amplitude of our information signal, we are going to vary some property of our high frequency carrier wave, and this variation or this changing is called modulation. Okay. So why we generally go for modulation? We'll be anyway studying the needs of modulation, but just know that so the information or the message signal we are going to pass will be an audio frequency signal, right? So the audio frequency signal will be low frequency and it cannot travel longer distances. Okay. So in order to make our information travel to a longer distance, consider that our destination is present at a longer distance. So we need to make our signal travel to that longer distance. So we use a radio frequency wave or a high frequency wave, and we change some characteristics of that wave. And this process is called modulation. Okay. So I hope that the definition of modulation is clear to you. Now let us see what is the needs for modulation. So next we are going to see the various needs for performing modulation. That is why we are actually performing modulation. What is the requirement? So the first requirement is the most important one. It is to reduce the height of antenna. Okay. So whether it is transmitting antenna or receiving antenna, the height of the antenna has a relation with the wavelength that we are using. And it is like this. Okay. So height of antenna is equal to lambda by 4. Okay, so if lambda is the wavelength that we are using and the height of the antenna is related like, consider that we are using height ht, then ht is equal to lambda by 4. Okay, so how can we write lambda in terms of frequency? Lambda is equal to C by F. Okay. Wavelength is equal to C by F. So if you substitute in terms of C by F, you will be getting HT is equal to C by 4F. So this is the relation between the height of the antenna and the frequency that we are using. So consider that we are going to use a very lower frequency. What will happen? The denominator is less, means the HT value will get increased. Okay, so the F, as it is low, the value of height will be very high. And if it is very high, means it is not a practical condition to form or build an antenna with a very larger height. Okay. So, due to this relation, we are going to use a higher frequency here. So, if the frequency value is high, means the denominator is high, then the HT will be relatively lower. Considering to the F, if you are using lower, considering to that, if you are using a higher frequency, then the height will be relatively lower. Okay. So we'll take an example. So consider that you are going to use a F is equal to 1 kilohertz. Means 1 into 10 raised to 3 hertz. So what will be the height of the antenna in that case? HT will be equal to C is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second by 4 into 1 into 10 raised to 3. Right. So when you are using F equal to 1 kilohertz, you will get a height of antenna is equal to 75000 meter. That is 75,000 meters. Okay, so that is not a practical case. Now consider you are going to use, so this is one case. For the second case, you are going to use a F is equal to 1 megahertz. That is 1 into 10 raised to 6 hertz. So what will be the height of the antenna in this case? HT equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 by 4 into 1 into 10 raised to 6. Okay. So for this case, the height of the antenna will be only 75 meters. Okay. So this is relatively practical, or it is lower as compared to F is equal to 1 kilohertz. So the thing is, or the point is, if you are using a lower frequency, means height will be very larger. But if you are using a higher frequency, your height can be affordable. Okay. So that is the main requirement of using a higher frequency wave, which is called the carrier wave, so that we can reduce the height of antennas that we are using. Okay. So that is the first need for modulation, which is reducing the height of antenna. Now, moving on to the second case. The second case is, it will avoid, that is, if we perform modulation, it will avoid mixing of signals. Avoid mixing of signals. Okay. So you know that your sound signal which we are using, or which we are sending, is in the range of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Okay, so this is the range of your sound wave. Okay. Now when we are performing modulation, means we are going to send each of the sound waves which we are sending, and we are going to modulate each of the waves with different frequencies. That is, we are going to use different carriers. So this usage of different frequencies, different carrier frequencies, will avoid the mixing of signals. Otherwise, what will happen? Our range is very much confined. But when we are using a high frequency signals, that is when we use different frequency signals for different waves, for modulating different waves, or when we use different carrier frequencies in general, we can avoid the mixing of our signals. Okay. So that is the second need, or second advantage of performing modulation. Then third one is that it can increase the range of communication. Increases the range of communication. So when we are using lower frequencies, means these lower frequency waves cannot really travel to longer distances. They will fade away, or they will not reach your longer, far away destinations. But when we are using higher frequency waves, that is, if we use carrier waves of higher frequencies, the frequency is more, and also they can travel longer distances, and the range will be comparatively more. Okay, so that is the third requirement. That is, we can increase the range of communication. Then fourth one is allows multiplexing of signals. Okay, so we are actually studying various multiplexing techniques in the modulation, which is a clear information that we can have multiplexing of signals if we perform various modulation techniques. Okay, so that is the fourth requirement, or fourth need or advantage, that it will allow the multiplexing of signals. Okay, then the fifth one is that it allows adjustments in the bandwidth. Okay, it will help us to have adjustment, that is, the bandwidth can be lowered or increased, or that is, bandwidth can be adjusted if you perform modulation. Okay, so we can have some adjustments in the bandwidth. Then sixth one, improves the quality of reception. That is a very, very important need or advantage. It improves the quality of reception. Okay, consider that if you are going to use our original signal, which is a lower frequency signal. So when we are actually receiving the signal may have faded, or the signal may not actually reach your destination or receiver. Okay, so when we are using a higher frequency signal, means it can easily travel to a longer distance or a higher range, and hence the quality of reception will also increase. Okay, so that is the sixth advantage, that it improves the quality of reception. Then seventh one, to overcome equipment limitations. So when we are using lower frequency signals, we have to have receivers which can be able to receive the lower frequencies, right? So that is difficult to actually design the receivers with which is able to receive lower frequencies correctly or accurately. But if you are increasing the frequency, means it will be helping us helping the equipments to overcome the limitation. That is, it will be easy to design the equipments or the receivers. Okay, so that is the seventh need. Then the eighth one. The eighth one is that it will help to reduce the noise and interference. Okay, so it will help us to reduce the noise and interference. So consider that you are going to use your original low frequency signal. These signals are actually prone to more noise. But if we are using a higher frequency signal, and if we are going to use various higher frequency signals for various informations, it will be helping us to reduce the noise and interference. Okay. So these are the 8 important needs for modulation. So I have included all the important ones, and these are actually the key points which led to the invention of various modulation techniques. So all the points here are all very important. Okay, so most important one is we can use antennas which is having relatively lower heights. So that was a major requirement for going for modulation. Okay, so these are the needs for modulation, or these are the various advantages if you perform modulations. Okay, so in this video we have discussed about the block diagram of communication system. We have seen the basics of modulation, and also we have covered a very important topic, which is the need for modulation. So this is actually a basic or an introduction video to analog communication subject. So I'm really hoping that all the information which I have shared in this video was useful. If yes, please do give it a thumbs up and also share it with your friends. And if you want more videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and keep on watching.